Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in yet again to another episode. Today, we're exploring why not having any problems yet is not a leave compliance strategy. Let's be honest, not having something come up may be good news, but if your leave process has never been tested or nothing has went wrong as it pertains to leave, then there may be something in there that you want to investigate, take a look into to make sure that everything is secure. So today, to help me unpack this conversation, I'm here again with Tilt's VP of Leave Compliance, John Nall. John, thanks for joining me once again. Glad to have you on.
Thanks, Nick. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so let's start high level here. When an HR leader says, we've never had a compliance issue with our leave process, what does that say about their leave program? And maybe more importantly, what doesn't it say?
Well, it tells me that the team has likely been doing a lot of things right. Leave administration is complicated and a clean record is worth something. But what it doesn't tell me is whether the process is durable. A clean record doesn't mean deadlines are being tracked consistently, documentation is being handled the same across cases, or the process would hold up under higher volume or increased complexity. Those are different questions.
Mm-hmm. And how do compliance gaps form inside of a leave process that seems to be running fine? What are the conditions that tend to show up that have them build quietly over time?
A lot of those gaps form when individual effort substitutes for structure. So an experienced HR person may be keeping everything together through spreadsheets, reminders, and institutional knowledge, and the process looks fine because that person is making it work. But growth tends to expose those gaps. More employees, more leave requests, more managers, more state law requirements all create the opportunities for inconsistency. And if nobody's actively keeping up with the legal challenges, a process can gradually become outdated without anybody realizing it.
Mm-hmm. And I think being in your seat, John, being the VP of Leave Compliance, you know this better than anybody else. Leave laws keep evolving, they keep expanding, whether it's new state requirements or new categories or new obligations. There's always something that's changing. There's always something that's shifting when it comes to the leave landscape. What does that mean for an organization whose process was built for a much simpler environment?
Yeah, it means the process may no longer match the reality that the organization is operating in. 10 years ago, many employers were primarily thinking about FMLA and a handful of state laws. And today, employers may be dealing with paid family medical leave programs, paid sick leave laws, pregnancy accommodations, ADA obligations, and company policies all at the same time. So a policy that worked well in a simpler environment may need to evolve to keep up.
For sure. And just a bit ago, we talked about how things can quietly build and create some compliance risk during this process, even if nothing has went wrong. But let's fast forward a little bit to, let's say there's a tipping point that happens with this, and there's much more risk that's now visible in this process. What tends to be that tipping point for teams? What actually activates those quiet gaps into something much bigger?
Great question. Volume is a common tipping point. So a workflow that works at 10 leave cases a year may not work at 50. And the other common trigger is complexity. So a difficult medical certification, overlapping leave laws, new manager, or an employee challenge can expose weaknesses that were always there, but had never been tested before.
Mm-hmm. And when that tipping point comes, compliance inevitably will break down. There will be things that come up. What does that cost for an organization when something breaks down? And what are the legal ramifications of being non-compliant in this case?
Well, there certainly can be legal exposure, including damages, attorney's fees, agency investigations, and other remedies depending on the law involved. But the operational cost is often overlooked too. So that's responding to complaints and audits and agency inquiries or litigation. And all of that takes time, attention, and resources. And most organizations would rather invest in preventing those issues than spend time cleaning them up later.
Yep. And there may be an HR leader right now who's watching this, and maybe that's the answer that they've been giving to everyone all this time. We haven't had any problems yet with our leave compliance. Like, we're set, we're good. This is never going to show up. And maybe they're hearing this and they're going, do I need to fix something right now? Right. So now they start to think of what this could actually look like for them. John, I'm curious from your angle for this HR leader, what does consistent compliance really require in practice? Not as a theory, but within the day-to-day.
Yeah, it requires structure.
Mhm.
Documented workflows, clear ownership, deadline tracking, consistent documentation standards, and a reliable record of what happened in each case. It also requires staying current. So leave laws change constantly, especially at the state level, and a compliant process needs a way to adapt as those requirements evolve.
Yeah. And let's say for this HR leader who has been relying on this clean record as their anchor, what's the most honest thing you can tell them? Because there has to be something within here.
I think it's that their process may be working well, or it may not have been tested yet. And a clean record alone can't tell you which one's true. So the best way to find out is to review the underlying process. Most organizations that do that find opportunities to improve, even if they've never had a complaint or claim.
Yep. And hopefully, this conversation for that leader is shifting the way that they think, shifting the way in which they approach their leave compliance and in this process. John, as we close out, what is the shift in thinking you want these HR leaders to take away from this conversation?
I would suggest moving from asking, has anything gone wrong, to asking, how confident am I that this process would hold up if it was tested?
Hmm.
Compliance is not just about avoiding problems, it's about building a process that is consistent, repeatable, and capable of handling the complexity that comes with modern leave administration.